Welcome to a new series that I'm calling the Real Talk with the Real Abhinav. In this series, I want to share with you what's going on real time, week to week, and I'm going to try to hold this commitment with you. So I'm going to share with you what's happening with my life personally, in business, in health, and all aspects of even content creation and more. So stay tuned. This is the first of many, and please give me your feedback on what you want to know more about, and I'm happy to start adding that in to these updates. First off, Happy New Year if you're watching this. It's the first new month of the year, and I'm really excited about all the opportunities that are coming ahead, especially what January has to offer. I'm also today celebrating the birthday of my baby boy who turns 7 months old today, and my wife and I are actually going on our date night later today. So that's also very exciting because juggling family and your relationship, something very new to both of us, but we're trying to figure it out. We've been doing our weekly meetings that we do to check in with each other and make sure that we're aligned on like our own priorities and the things we need to do together as a household. And then date night is definitely one of those things, so it's kind of exciting. Let me share with you a little bit about my mindset for 2023. Now, I shared earlier last week how I set goals, so make sure you check this video out, and about focus statements. So I want to talk a little bit about what my mindset is like going into this week. Now, one of my focus statements for the year is grit. And this is something that I know is going to be required for me to really propel myself forward in this journey with you guys, and of course in business and in my family and my health and everything. So one of the statements or one of the videos I came across that really kind of hit home for me was something that Alex Hermosi said. It was a mindset that I've had in my younger years. I'm still pretty young, but you know what I mean. My earlier years when I was in my late teens and early 20s, but he just said it so well and it just hit for me right away. So I want to share it with you. Basically, he said, pick a goal. I've picked my goals for sure. And then do as much work as you possibly can that it would be unreasonable for you not to succeed. And if you do that, you will reach your goal in half the time. Now, I've seen this happen in my whole life, right? In my own life, I've seen that I became the best drummer in my high school, and I had no formal training. My parents couldn't afford music lessons, but I still found a way to put so much freaking work in that there was nobody out there that was better than me. Even if they had better skills than me, I was first chair, I was drum captain, I was the best. And that was really cool, reaffirming for me. But then I got into college, and I was again at the bottom of the totem pole, not the smartest kid, not an A+ student, trying to do computer science, and I was struggling with it. But I pushed through. I found a way to be good enough to get through that. But most importantly, at the same time, I was becoming a bodybuilder. I wanted to compete in bodybuilding, and everyone discounted me. They're like, "Oh, you're too short. You'll never ever place." Well, fuck all of that, because I did what I wanted to do, and I won my show, and I got in the best fucking shape of my life. And I proved it to myself that I could be a champion. And then finally, working in the tech world, in the industry that I'm in part of, I started by being an engineer, and I hated it. I wasn't passionate about it. I struggled with it. But I kept pushing through, and I stuck to my strengths, and I put myself out there. I did the things that I was afraid to do, and I put so much work into it that now, the place I'm sitting comfortably, I can talk about some of the things that I'm doing, that I'm sharing with you in this video, in terms of how I run business day to day, which is all apart from the YouTube stuff that you guys are seeing me do now here, right? So that was one of my focus statements, is grit, and it really helps me to see that for me to get where I want to go with what I'm trying to do in multiple dimensions of my life, I'm going to have to really adopt the word or the mindset of grit and doing as much fucking work as I possibly can, that it's unreasonable for me not to be successful. Now, my second focus statement for the year was taking care of myself. Now, obviously, I talk about my physical goals and my mental goals of taking care of myself, but that statement, when it hit me, has been already enlightening me as the new year has started, because it's not about just my physical health, it's about my emotional health, taking care of myself spiritually. And one of the things that really helped me, that hit for me, was as I continue to make content for you guys, it's been really tough for me to want to put myself out there and be my authentic self, because it's very hard or very easy to judge myself, and also to get shitty comments, let that get in my head. So Russ, who's an artist that I actually love and admire, we're around the same age, and he said in one of his videos, basically he was talking about how that society doesn't always give us the permission to feel good about ourselves, right? And it's like, okay, you want to be confident, you feel confident, you feel good about being yourself, about talking your shit, but don't do that. Once you've done a certain number of things that we consider to be status worthy. Now you can go and talk your shit. And basically he says, fuck that, bro. I'm going to talk my shit until I die. Like, I'm not waiting for anyone to greenlight my confidence in myself. And honestly, that's how I believe. And I'm not trying to become an egotistic asshole here, because my intention is grounded in being very centered in my truth and not in ego bashing other people, breaking down their characters to make myself feel good or to make myself something that I'm not. Like, I'm grounded in my truth and in love when I say that. It's like, fuck you. Who are you to tell me I can't be myself, right? Who are you to say that I can't brag or talk about the shit that I'm doing just because you got a fucking Lamborghini that you rent and a mansion that you rent and no family living in your big house and you call that success? Go fuck yourself, son, because you got no success in life. No one loves you. Now, I know I sound like an egotistic asshole there, but my point is, right, like, it just really resonated with me that for me to take care of, like, the child in me or the character that I'm trying to develop in me, I really have to not give a shit about what anybody else thinks and speak my truth. So that's where my mindset's at this week. Now, in terms of business, it's Q1. It's officially begun, and I'm focused on executing all the things that I had set in place before the year ended. So it's not like, walking into a new year and being like, oh, what do I got to do now? Where do I start? What am I supposed to be doing? No, I was already putting the seeds in the ground for what I'm going to be doing when the new year started. So I basically started that by making sure that this week we had to make sure that the business that was supposed to close last quarter in Q4 has actually closed, right? Because here's the thing in business, many times, especially when you're doing high ticket contracts, right? Multi-million-dollar contracts, things like that, which we do in software. When you sell to someone and then they buy or they renew, payments don't come immediately. It's not like swiping a credit card first and foremost, right? So what happens is there's usually a period of payments. And not only that, and maybe this is a separate topic for another video, but to give you the short form, when you do sign a contract with a big company or you renew them, there's a bunch of due diligence that takes place. So if it's on the customer side, they have to go through, their people that are called procurement, which are always a pain in the ass to deal with because they always have to redline things and make sure that they get a discount and things of that nature, especially considering that we are, for as far as we can all tell, heading towards a steeper recession. And that means most businesses are looking to tighten up their spend and make sure that it's incredibly valuable, whatever they are spending their money on, that the ROI is there. So that's made it a bit more difficult. Not saying that we're not providing the ROI, but everybody goes through the scrutiny process. And you might be working with this business unit that's getting all this value, but then like the person that's in procurement or someone that's much higher up who has to finally sign for the money will look at it and be like, well, we're spending $2 million on this. Well, why are we doing that? What are we getting out of it? They may or may not know. So one of the things that I get to do is find a way to reach back up to that person and get them to understand the value that we've been able to provide. So one of the first things I'm doing this week, the first week back into, full-on business mode, is actually making sure that those contracts that were supposed to finish over the holiday cycle, which is also very hard because people tend to go out of office, to go on vacation, make sure that we did close them out, make sure we are on target to get paid for those. And then other exciting things that came up is, some of my other customers, like in the healthcare industry space, reached out to me talking about GPT, one of my favorite pieces of technology that I've been obsessing and loving using for the last month. If you haven't seen the video, make sure you check the one that I made last week about it. And it's interesting because ChatGPT has become a global phenomenon. It's huge, right? Over 1 million people are using it. Everyone's really excited about it. One of the things that it does really well is natural language processing, meaning you're able to talk to it like it's a human. Today, I actually had one of my customers reach out to me and ask me, how can GPT-3 be used to do natural language processing of their search queries from their users and then translate them into cipher queries, which is actually a graph database language, which is, what Neo4j runs on. So very interesting because I've already been hyped up about this technology now for the last month. I've been using it every day. You guys can check out my video about it. And it's really nice to see that it's already coming into my day-to-day business life. So that's one of the new things that popped up today. And then, as I mentioned, one of the other things that we're trying to work towards is making sure that business that was not closed is continuing to drive to close. There's definitely been a couple of hurdles that popped up. Like, for example, in one of our deals, which is a pretty large one, $750,000, it was ready to get signed and everything. And then all of a sudden there was a change in leadership. A new president came in and then he started to look at it and he was like, well, why are we paying this? And then they just acquire another small business and they're looking at how can we consolidate the contracts, and they're like, we don't have time. We need more extension. Well, that kind of sucks for us because we need to close out business. But anyway, we had to work through that, kind of think quickly on our feet, come up with an extension that made sense. But then now we have to work towards educating this new person on the success that we've been able to build with their business, with our technology, to make sure that he sees the value in it, and it makes sure that our business continues to run smoothly. One of the other things that I'm also keeping on top of my mind is there were a lot of businesses that I was working with last year where we were looking for expansion opportunities, and as the recession looms, everybody's kind of talk track became, oh, we don't have the budget for it this year, right? Haven't you heard that before? Who has the budget to actually give you more money ever? So anyway, but point being, a lot of those people were postponing our discussions to talk about budgetary things that we could then actually go and sell them on till 2023. Well, guess what? Now 2023 has started. So I'm going to be basically going back to them. And I've already started this week to be like, hey, remember those things that we've been working on for the last several months? And that means we're talking about all the things that they wanted to do, and I shared with them how we're going to be able to do that with them, with our resources, with our expertise, and we created a whole plan about how they're going to do this. They just didn't have funding yet, right? Because they were waiting for 2023. Well, those are going to be my deals for Q1 that I'm going to try to bring in, because I've been setting them up now for months and months, and now that we're in Q1 of 2023, we can work towards, okay, cool. Now you can set up your budget to make sure that you can pay for this value-added service that you know you need. Because here's the thing, people want technology, but they always need help implementing it the right way. And that's where sort of my value comes in, to kind of look at the bigger picture to make sure that, okay, what happens if this thing doesn't get done on time? Because the people I'm usually working with may not be always the highest of executive, but right, you can get them to think about, like, well, who's kind of asses on the line if this doesn't get done, right? And if it's not done the right way. So those are some of the business things that have already come up, and I'm only towards the end of the first day of the new year, of the new business week, where many of the people are still coming back. Finally, one of the cool things that started popping up is we get to work with all the biggest cloud providers out there, right? Separate topic for a separate day, but one of my investment strategies is to invest in the three biggest clouds and Apple. So, I tend to deal with AWS, GCP, and Azure. GCP is Google, for those of you who don't know, and Azure is Microsoft, for those of you who don't know. And it's been interesting because we've been working through our internal experts who work with these cloud providers to then basically do a strategy here where I'm trying to penetrate, I can't name the name, but a big, massive account, right? They're huge, over 100,000 employees, and we have a dozen projects there. They're all separated, and I've been working on this strategy now for the whole last year, right? I've been trying to build and build and build, like try to go shake hands with people that are the executives at like the one event that I was able to go to theirs last year rather. And then I've been working towards like attacking it from all different angles. Like, okay, which cloud providers are they working with? Which consultants companies do they work with? Who are our like sort of foot soldiers on the ground? How can we engage them to send them some sort of value proposition that they would engage back with us, and then they would take us up the food chain? It's just the type of things that I get to do, which I've really never talked about ever on my YouTube channel, and hope to kind of bring more insights week to week as how things are progressing. Let's see, what else do I want to share about? I mean, one of the other things that happened is, as you guys know, I've been sharing about my fitness journey in these videos. So make sure you've been checking those out and keeping up to date, because I set up a plan before the holidays to not gain and get worse in shape in the new year and hit my goals off the ground, from the start. What is it called? Like hit the ground running, right? And I was doing great for a while. I lost some weight. I definitely got off my meal plan a bit, which was part of the strategy because I knew I wasn't going to stick to it 100%, spending time with family, eating a little extra food, hanging out, bonding over food and family time. So I got to do a ton of that, and I'm really buzzing off the good energy that I got from that into this week, into the new year, which I'm very excited about. The only downside is I did hurt my back. On New Year Day, we were out and about with my family, and it happened to be a very windy, stormy, crazy time where the winds are coming from, the West Coast and blowing into California. Now I'm in the south part of California, so we still got a whole bunch of it, not as crazy as the northern part of California where there was massive flooding. But I happened to be out and I didn't have a thick jacket on, and there was a massive like wind flow or whatever happening in my back. My lower back just cramped up, man. It just stiffened up, and it's been in pain now for the whole last couple days. Today I'm feeling a little bit better, but I was supposed to go to the gym today. Decided I'm going to take one more day off and take a break. Now I know I've probably put on a bit more water weight, not necessarily gotten fatter, but I definitely am heavier. And yeah, so I know I have more work ahead of me. I'm still really excited about it. I have the whole year to get in insane shape. And so I just want to share a couple of these things with you guys as to what's been going on. So you let me know if you found this type of series helpful. And I'm really grateful for all of your guys' support for, coming back to this channel. Right now, there's a very few of you that actually watch my videos, which is totally fine with me. I'm going to make these so good over time that more and more of you want to come back and watch these with me. So let me know what you liked, put it in the comments, and let me know if you want to hear about anything specific, and I'd be happy to share that with you guys next time.